The house looked the same as it always had, 2 stories, white shutters, a freshly trimmed hedge. To anyone passing by, it was the perfect picture of suburban stability. But Eleanor had long since stopped being fooled by appearances. She knew the house was a stage, the paint hiding the rot beneath. Still, tonight, something gnawed at her gut. She stepped out of her car, smoothing her coat, and tried to calm her pulse. It's fine. Chloe's fine. She just stayed with Grandma and Grandpa for the weekend. Nothing unusual. But the moment she opened the front door, that thought died. The air inside was sharp, tinged with bleach and lemon cleaner, so strong it made her eyes sting. "Mom! Dad!" she called, but no answer came. From down the hallway drifted the sound of laughter, Sabrina's bright trill, the deeper rumble of Richard, and the shrill giggles of Liam and Olivia. And yet, where was Chloe? Chloe! Eleanor's voice echoed through the hallway, a thread of urgency tightening around her chest. It wasn't until she climbed the staircase and walked toward the guest rooms that she noticed something strange. One of the doors, the farthest at the end of the hall, was closed. Locked, if her ears didn't deceive her. Her knuckles rapped sharply against the wood. "Chloe! Sweetheart!" There was a pause. Then a muffled, trembling, "Mom!" Eleanor's heart lurched. She twisted the doorknob. It resisted. Fury coiled through her veins. Without thinking, she slammed her shoulder against it. The old frame gave with a splintering crack. The sight on the other side made her stomach twist. Chloe sat on the edge of the bed, her knees pulled up to her chest. Her face was pale, lips dry, eyes wide and red-rimmed. On the nightstand beside her lay a plate with a single piece of dry toast, untouched. The room smelled faintly of bleach, the acrid odor settling heavy in her nose. "Oh my God, Chloe!" Eleanor dropped her purse and rushed forward, wrapping her daughter in her arms. "Mom!" Chloe whispered, her small voice so weak it barely carried. They wouldn't let me eat." Eleanor pulled back just enough to search Chloe's face, brushing away strands of matted hair. "What do you mean they wouldn't let you eat? Who said that?" Chloe hesitated, eyes darting toward the door as if afraid someone might hear. Then she whispered, "Grandma. She said I had to finish scrubbing the bathroom first. The whole thing. She said no food until it sparkled. And I could hear Liam and Olivia in the kitchen, eating spaghetti. It smelled so good." Her voice cracked. "But I wasn't allowed." Eleanor's nails dug into her palm as rage ignited like wildfire. She forced her voice low, steady, though her body trembled. "Did you eat anything at all?" Chloe shook her head. "Just water. Grandpa said it would teach me to toughen up." Every word was a knife. Eleanor pulled Chloe tighter against her chest, rocking her as if she were 5 years old again. "You don't ever have to earn food, Chloe. Ever. Do you hear me? You're my daughter. You deserve love. You deserve care." Chloe's thin shoulders shook against her mother's coat. Eleanor inhaled sharply, determination hardening inside her. She wasn't going to let this slide, not for a second. She kissed Chloe's forehead. "Stay right here, sweetheart. I'll be back." As she turned toward the door, her anger built with every step. The laughter downstairs floated up again, carefree, oblivious. They were feasting while her daughter sat locked away, starving. "Not anymore," Eleanor vowed. The dining room glowed warmly with candlelight, the table spread with roast chicken, buttery rolls, mashed potatoes, and, yes, spaghetti in a gleaming ceramic bowl. Beatrice, Richard, and Sabrina sat with glasses of red wine, while Liam and Olivia twirled pasta around their forks, slurping loudly. Eleanor stopped in the doorway, her presence chilling the air. "Enjoying yourselves?" The laughter faltered. Sabrina blinked up at her, fork mid-air. Richard scowled. Beatrice set her glass down with an audible clink. "What's wrong, Eleanor?" Beatrice asked, her voice calm, almost bored. Eleanor's voice was icy. "Where is Chloe's plate?" Sabrina tilted her head. "What do you mean?" "You know damn well what I mean. My daughter is upstairs, locked in a room, with nothing but a piece of toast." For a moment, silence. Then Beatrice's lips curved in disdain. "Chloe needed to learn some discipline. She's far too coddled." Eleanor felt her blood surge. Discipline. By starving her. By locking her away while your precious Liam and Olivia stuff themselves with pasta. Sabrina set her fork down delicately. Eleanor, don't overreact. Chloe has always been, well, a bit soft, hasn't she? This was just to toughen her up. Eleanor laughed, sharp and humorless. Soft. She's 13, Sabrina. She's a child. My child. Richard leaned back, arms crossed. We didn't mean any harm. We just see her as helpful hands around the house. That's all. Eleanor's chest rose and fell rapidly. Helpful hands? She's not your maid. She's not your scapegoat. She is my daughter. And I won't stand by while you abuse her. The atmosphere thickened like smoke. Beatrice lifted her chin, unflinching. You've spoiled her, Eleanor. Always indulging her little moods. She'll never survive in this world if you keep treating her like porcelain. We're only trying to help her grow stronger. By starving her? Eleanor snapped. By humiliating her? Sabrina's eyes narrowed, defensive. You act like we tied her up in the basement. Don't exaggerate. She was just cleaning. Everyone has chores. She's 13, Sabrina. And you fed your kids a full meal while mine starved in a locked room. Eleanor's voice rose, trembling with fury. Do you hear yourselves? This isn't discipline. This is cruelty. Richard slammed his palm against the table, rattling the glasses. Enough. You march in here with your accusations like you're some kind of saint. Don't forget, Eleanor, we've put up with plenty from you over the years. We raised you, didn't we? Eleanor's lips curled. Raised me? You mean broke me? And now you're trying to break Chloe. For the first time, Beatrice's mask slipped, her eyes narrowing to slits. You owe us, Eleanor. Don't forget who gave you a roof over your head when you were her age. Something inside Eleanor snapped. Her voice dropped, low and cutting. No. You don't get to rewrite this. Because I'm the one who gave you a roof over your head. And it's time you remembered that. The silence was deafening. Beatrice blinked, confusion flashing across her face. What are you talking about? Eleanor's gaze swept across them all, her chest heaving. The mortgage. The bills. The taxes. Who do you think has been paying them for the last 4.5 years? Richard froze, color draining from his face. Every month, without fail, I made sure you stayed in this house. That you didn't lose everything. Eleanor's voice shook, not with weakness, but with the force of years held back. And while you sat here feasting, my daughter, the girl whose mother keeps this roof over your head, was locked away, starving. Sabrina's fork slipped from her hand with a clatter. That's not. It's exactly what it is. Eleanor cut her off, her voice rising. You want to talk about discipline? About gratitude? Look in the mirror. You wouldn't last a month without me. And Chloe, your so-called soft girl, is the reason you still have a damn house to sit in. For the first time, none of them spoke. Their smugness cracked, their faces pale. Eleanor straightened, her spine rigid as steel. Here's the truth. Chloe will never be alone with any of you again. And as for those mortgage payments... She leaned forward, her voice sharp as glass. They stopped today. Effective immediately. The silence that followed was suffocating, broken only by the sound of Liam slurping the last strand of spaghetti before his mother shushed him. Beatrice's face contorted, fury spilling through the cracks. Richard muttered a curse under his breath. Sabrina's lips trembled, torn between defiance and panic. But Eleanor didn't wait for their response. She turned on her heel and strode toward the stairs, her heart pounding. This ends now. The moment Eleanor carried Chloe down the stairs, her daughter's arms looped tightly around her neck, the dining room erupted. Eleanor, wait. Sabrina's chair screeched against the hardwood as she lurched to her feet. You can't just take her away like that. Eleanor spun, fire in her eyes. Watch me. Richard's voice boomed, thick with command. Don't you dare walk out that door. You think you can cut us off? After all we've done for you. Eleanor's lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. Yes. That's exactly what I think. Beatrice slammed her wine glass down so hard it cracked. Red liquid seeped across the lace tablecloth like blood. Ungrateful. That's what you are. Always have been. You'd rather ruin us than let us teach your child a little discipline. Discipline doesn't mean locking a child in a room without food, Eleanor spat. It doesn't mean making her feel worthless while you gorge yourselves. You call that family? I call it abuse. Sabrina's voice cracked. Eleanor, please. Think about the kids. Liam and Olivia love their cousin. Do they? Eleanor's tone was knife-sharp. Then maybe you should explain to them why Chloe was listening to them eat while she starved. Sabrina faltered, shame flashing briefly in her eyes before she masked it with anger. You're blowing this out of proportion. Eleanor shifted Chloe in her arms and stepped toward the door. Her voice was steady, final. This is the last time Chloe will ever spend a night in this house. And as of tonight, your free ride ends. No more mortgage payments. No more help. Not another dime. The color drained from Richard's face. You wouldn't dare. Eleanor's eyes blazed. Watch me. And with that, she carried Chloe out into the cool night air, leaving the stunned silence of her family's table behind. 2 days later, Eleanor was sitting at her kitchen table, nursing a mug of coffee gone cold, when her phone buzzed. A notification flashed across the screen. Suspicious attempt to access your bank account has been blocked. Her stomach dropped. She quickly tapped the alert, her pulse hammering. The details loaded, and her jaw clenched. The flagged device was registered to Richard Vance. Her father. A bitter laugh escaped her throat. Of course. It wasn't just about control. It never had been. It was about money, power, ownership. And Richard, humiliated by her defiance, had gone straight for the jugular. Her phone rang. The caller ID lit up, Dad. She answered, her voice like ice. How dare you? Richard's voice was thick with false indignation. Eleanor, listen, there's been some kind of mistake. I was just checking. You tried to hack into my account. Eleanor snapped. Do you think I'm stupid? His tone hardened, dropping the act. You owe us. Don't forget where you came from. You think you can just walk away after everything we invested in you? We made you who you are. Eleanor's laugh was sharp, humorless. You didn't make me. You broke me. I made myself. And I won't let you break Chloe. You'll regret this, Richard hissed. We're family. Family doesn't turn its back. No, Eleanor said, her voice cutting clean through his lies. Family doesn't starve children. Goodbye, Dad. She hung up and dropped the phone onto the table, her hands shaking with adrenaline. For a long moment, she just sat there, staring at Chloe's backpack leaning against the wall, her heart pounding with rage and fear. If Richard was willing to stoop this low, what else would he try? That night, Eleanor tucked Chloe into bed, smoothing the blankets over her small frame. Chloe smiled faintly, exhaustion etched into her features. Mom, she whispered. Yes, sweetheart. Thank you for getting me out of there. Eleanor's throat tightened. You never have to thank me for protecting you, Chloe. That's my job. Chloe closed her eyes, drifting quickly into sleep. Eleanor lingered, brushing a hand through her daughter's hair. But as she adjusted the pillow, something hard pressed against her palm. Curious, she lifted the corner of the mattress. There, tucked beneath it, was Chloe's journal, spiral-bound, its cover worn from use. Eleanor hesitated. She knew this was private, but something in her gut told her she needed to read it. She opened the journal and began to scan the pages. The handwriting was neat but shaky, the words written in the uneven scrawl of a child trying to put feelings into order. Her breath caught as she read. Maybe if I was better, they would love me. Grandma says I'm lazy. Maybe she's right. I heard them laughing about me. I don't want to be a burden. I wish I could disappear. Tears blurred Eleanor's vision. She clutched the journal to her chest, her heart breaking in two. Chloe had carried this pain in silence, writing it down in secret while Eleanor had been too blind to see the depth of her suffering. She bent over, pressing her lips to Chloe's forehead as the tears slid down her cheeks. I'm so sorry, baby. I promise you, it ends now. I will never let them hurt you again." The next morning, Eleanor sat at her laptop, determination hardening with every click. She searched for child therapists, scrolling through pages of names, reviews, credentials. She wanted the best, someone who could help Chloe untangle this mess of pain and self-doubt. Her phone buzzed with texts from Sabrina. "Sabrina, Mom and Dad are devastated. You've blown everything out of proportion. Sabrina, we just wanted Chloe to learn responsibility. Sabrina, you're overreacting, Eleanor. Come back to reason." Eleanor deleted the messages without replying. Her focus stayed on Chloe. By noon, she had secured an emergency appointment for later that week. When Chloe came into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes, Eleanor knelt in front of her. "Sweetheart, we're going to see someone this week. A therapist. She's going to help us talk about everything that happened. Someone safe. Someone who understands." Chloe's brows furrowed. "Am I broken?" Eleanor cupped her daughter's face. "No. You are not broken. But you've been hurt, and sometimes we need help healing. That's what therapy is for. It's like medicine, but for your heart." For the first time in days, Chloe's lips curved in the faintest of smiles. "Okay, Mom. If you'll go too." Eleanor's chest swelled. "Always. We'll do this together." The office was warm and inviting, with soft yellow walls and shelves lined with children's books and art supplies. Dr. Hughes, a calm woman with kind eyes and a gentle voice, welcomed them in. Chloe perched nervously on the couch beside her mother, twisting her fingers in her lap. Dr. Hughes leaned forward slightly. "Chloe, I want you to know this is a safe space. You can tell me anything here. No one will get angry. No one will punish you. This is just for you." Chloe glanced at Eleanor, who squeezed her hand encouragingly. Slowly, haltingly, Chloe began to speak. She told Dr. Hughes about the locked room, the toast, the endless cleaning, the laughter she listened to through the walls. She spoke of Grandma's sharp words, Grandpa's silence, Aunt Sabrina's dismissive smile. And then, in a whisper, she confessed, "Sometimes, I think maybe they're right. Maybe I don't deserve food until I finish everything. Maybe I really am too soft." Eleanor's heart shattered all over again. Dr. Hughes shook her head gently. "Chloe, what you experienced is not discipline. It's neglect. And it's abuse. You deserve care, love, and nourishment, not conditions." Chloe blinked, as if trying to absorb the words. Dr. Hughes turned to Eleanor. "Your daughter is showing signs of emotional neglect and verbal abuse. She's internalized the belief that her worth is conditional. It's critical we address this now, before it deepens." Eleanor swallowed hard, her jaw tight. "What do we do?" "Therapy sessions for both of you," Dr. Hughes said firmly. "Chloe needs a space to rebuild her sense of self-worth. And you, Eleanor, you need a space to unpack your own conditioning. Because from what I'm hearing, this cycle began long before Chloe." Eleanor closed her eyes, breathing deeply. She knew the therapist was right. This wasn't just about Chloe's healing. It was about hers, too. She opened her eyes, determination burning bright. "Then we'll do whatever it takes. For her. For us. This ends with me." Chloe looked up, her eyes wide but glimmering with something new, hope. And for the first time in a long while, Eleanor allowed herself to believe they could build something better. Something stronger. Something free. The living room had become a stage of sorts. Most evenings, the sound of Chloe's clarinet filled the house, sometimes halting, sometimes melodic, but always hers. One evening Eleanor sat at the dining table, laptop open, when the warm notes drifted through the air. The melody wasn't perfect, but there was something in it, a determination, a rhythm of healing. "Mom," Chloe called from the hallway, clarinet tucked under her arm. Eleanor looked up, smiling. "Yes, sweetheart. Do you think I should join the school band? Mrs. Gomez said I could audition. I'm not sure if I'm good enough." Eleanor set aside her work and crossed the room, kneeling so they were eye to eye. "Do you want to join?" Chloe bit her lip, then nodded. "I think so. It feels good when I play. Like the bad thoughts don't matter as much." "Then you're already good enough," Eleanor said softly. "The band would be lucky to have you." Chloe's smile was small but radiant. "Okay, I'll try." That night, as Eleanor cleaned up dinner, she caught herself humming Chloe's tune under her breath. It wasn't polished music, it was the sound of her daughter healing, one note at a time. Winter crept in with frost on the windows and long nights by the fire. Eleanor noticed Chloe spending more and more time curled up with her notebook, scribbling furiously. One evening, curiosity tugged at her. "What are you writing, Chloe?" Her daughter flushed, closing the notebook. "Just stuff." "Can I see?" Eleanor asked gently. Chloe hesitated, then slid the notebook across the couch. Eleanor opened it and began to read. The poems were raw and unpolished, but they pulsed with emotion. "Once I was small and silent / invisible in their house of rules. But a mother's arms are stronger / than chains disguised as love." Eleanor's eyes blurred. She looked at her daughter, who was watching nervously. "These are powerful, Chloe," she whispered. "You have a gift." Chloe shrugged, embarrassed. "It just comes out. Like the clarinet, but with words." Eleanor kissed her forehead. "Never stop writing. Your voice deserves to be heard." From then on, Chloe's poems began to line the refrigerator, taped proudly by Eleanor for both of them to see. The words were no longer hidden in shame, they became part of the home, part of the healing. Spring arrived with longer days and softer air. Eleanor and Chloe attended every therapy session, every band rehearsal, every small step forward. And with each step, Eleanor felt something shift in herself too. One afternoon, Dr. Hughes invited Eleanor to sit back as Chloe performed a short piece on her clarinet during the session. When the final note hung in the air, Dr. Hughes smiled. "Do you see it, Eleanor? This is what resilience looks like." Eleanor's chest swelled with pride so sharp it hurt. "I do." Later that evening, she watched Chloe at the kitchen table, bent over her poetry notebook, a strand of hair falling across her cheek. There was a light in her eyes Eleanor hadn't seen in months, maybe years. "Chloe," Eleanor said softly. Her daughter looked up. "I'm proud of you. Not just for the music or the poems. For being you. For being strong even when it hurt. I need you to know that." Chloe's eyes shone, tears brimming. She pushed back her chair and hugged her mother tightly. "I'm proud of you too, Mom. For standing up to them." And in that moment, Eleanor realized they weren't just surviving anymore. They were growing. Together. Chloe's 14th birthday was nothing like the cold, controlled gatherings of Eleanor's past family events. This time, the living room was decorated with streamers and fairy lights, the table piled with cupcakes and chips. Instead of a stiff dinner with grandparents, Chloe was surrounded by friends from school, kids who cheered for her at band concerts, who shared secrets and laughter without cruelty. Eleanor carried out the cake, candles glowing. "Make a wish, sweetheart." Chloe closed her eyes, then blew them out in one breath. Cheers erupted, and Eleanor snapped photos, her heart swelling at the sight of her daughter's smile, wide, genuine, unshadowed. Later that night, after the friends had gone and the house was quiet, Eleanor found Chloe sitting cross-legged on the floor, gazing at the leftover candles. "Did you make a good wish?" Eleanor asked. Chloe nodded, a mischievous twinkle in her eyes. "I wished for us to stay just like this. Free. Happy." Eleanor's throat tightened. She knelt and hugged her daughter fiercely. "That's one wish I'll spend my life protecting." For the first time, Chloe's birthday wasn't just about marking years. It was about celebrating who she was becoming. The summer sun slanted through the windows, golden and warm, as Eleanor and Chloe sat side by side on the porch steps. Chloe had her clarinet resting on her lap and her notebook open, a half-finished poem scrawled across the page. Eleanor sipped her iced tea, watching her daughter hum softly, her bare feet tapping against the step in rhythm. "Do you ever think about them?" Chloe asked suddenly. Eleanor knew what she meant. "Sometimes," she admitted. "But not the way I used to. They don't control me anymore. And they'll never control you." Chloe nodded thoughtfully. "I don't hate them. I just don't need them." Eleanor's chest swelled with pride. "That's strength, Chloe. Knowing what you don't need." Chloe lifted her clarinet and played a gentle, hopeful tune that drifted into the warm evening air. When she finished, she scribbled a final line into her notebook. "Scars don't silence me. They sing." Eleanor wrapped her arm around her daughter's shoulders, pulling her close. Together, they sat in the fading sunlight. Two survivors, two healers, no longer defined by the cruelty of others but by the strength of their bond. The scars would remain, yes, but they had become something new. Marks not of weakness, but of survival, resilience, and the enduring power of a mother's love. And for the first time, Eleanor truly believed it. They weren't just surviving. They were thriving. The end.